just missed. What a start.
There's the long ball right away. And there's Xavi getting on the ball right away inside the area. That would have been the quickest goal in the ACC conference so far this year if that had gone in.
Obviously, that's very early on in the game. You're just trying something. But that's the type of thing that Boston College needs to do today. And maybe we can even transition into a couple of your keys for this game for Boston College. But this is an Eagles team that has not scored all that many goals this year. They've only scored 3 times on the season, and that's what they're going to need here today.
Absolutely, and we'll talk throughout the game about the shot differential between a lot of teams in the ACC and BC. I mean, BC just doesn't have a lot of shots. Between Pitt, Pitt has 72 shots for and 49 for their opponents. BC's the complete opposite, 43 for them and 71 for their opponents. So we'll talk about that throughout the game, but yeah, BC needs to get their shots off. They did right away here in the beginning of the game, but that's a key to winning in this conference.
Farwell did a nice job to keep it away from the Pitt defenders in front of him, and here is Alfie Hughes, who gives it back to Farwell. And Boston College, again, so much predicated on their possession time as they work under this new system this year under Bob Thompson. That's cleared to the back, and there is C.J. Williams, the sophomore center back, who gives it back to Brennan Klein, the keeper for Boston College. Over the top for Xavi O'Neal. And that is knocked down towards the goal line, and that is, see who's it off of. It's going to be an early corner kick here for Boston College. So the Eagles putting good pressure on early, and that factors into your 3 keys to success for BC.
Well, absolutely. I mean, they what they need to do is close down Pitt's shot opportunities because they're going to get a lot of shots off. They have throughout the season so far. And, of course, they need to take care of the ball in the back. Every team needs to do that on defense. And they need to press forward and take those shots like we just talked about. That's just key to the whole season, particularly tonight, to get off on a good start.
Farwell set up for the corner kick for Boston College. Goes short with it. The Eagles have done this a lot. Dos Santos. Looks like maybe a touch of miscommunication there. The Eagles were trying to hold up to avoid going offside. And this will go back the other way. By the way, a couple of number changes today to tell you about. Marco Dos Santos for Boston College. The freshman is wearing number 32 today in white. And then Mateo Mayufo, the junior defender from France for Pitt, who's normally number 12, is wearing number 14 today for the Panthers. Panthers will slow things down a bit here as they try to settle things. Pitt team coming off their best victory of the season, Eric. What's your keys for the Panthers tonight?
Well, we normally would have said involve Thorson and Kozamara, but it's only Kozamara tonight. Thorson's out with an injury. But creating those chances, creating shots up top, Kozamara will be a big part of that, obviously. And then obviously be tight on defense, just like we had mentioned with BC. They gotta tighten up the defense. Against Wake Forest the other night, there were a lot of shots. Wake Forest got a lot of chances. They weren't able to score, but Pitt does need to tighten that up a bit.
This Pitt team, their ranking at number 17 is probably a little bit lower than you might expect a Panthers team to be at this time of the year. And they lost a game 4-1 to Georgetown a couple of weeks ago on Friday, September 1st, and then 3-1 to Marshall. And as Jay Vidovich said, when you allow 7 in 2 games, I don't have to talk about wake-up calls or anything like that. It kind of just is built in, and it was part of the reason he was pleased with how they played against Wake. Didn't think there was a ton of difference maybe between the Marshall game, who's ranked 2nd in the country, and the Wake Forest game, but just a little bit more concentration, a little bit better in some of those 50-50 areas to help dig out a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they really turned the corner that game, and that was a huge win. All 3 goals were set pieces. There was a penalty kick that was the 3rd goal. The first 2 goals were off corner kicks. So, we had talked to Coach Vidovich this week about whether that was the plan or do they train on these these set pieces all the time. And he said not too much, just happened to be that way that night, and obviously they took advantage of it.
So far, the Eagles have done a pretty good job of getting set pieces. This is what Pitt did against Wake Forest a week ago, getting their first ever win over Wake in program history. Of course, Jay Vidovich's former school.
Yep, he's very familiar with that program, obviously. He was very excited to get that win. I mean, it's not that often that you get 2 corner kick goals and a PK goal to make it 3-0 over one of the best teams in the country. So very happy about that win. I know he was.
O'Neal gave it right back to Farwell off the short corner. Eagles will play it all the way back. That knocks off of Touré. And it's all the way back for Brendan Klein, who is way out of his goal and has to lead O'Neal, but was offside. But that was one of those you kind of just throw it up anyway because Klein was way out of his net and the Eagles needed a bit of a reset. One thing that's fascinating about this particular game is that both of these teams play very similar styles, or at least fairly similar in terms of their principles. What kind of impact is that going to have on a game when you have 2 teams who want to do very similar things?
Well, I think you can see in the beginning here in the first few minutes, there's a lot of energy going on, a lot of challenging, back and forth.
Jack Burkhart did a pretty good job to earn possession there and then got it right back and plays it back for Chavi O'Neal.
And like you said, they do play similar styles. There's a lot of energy going on right now. I think BC's going to have to settle it down a bit. They tend to sit back sometimes, and we've talked to Coach Thompson about that, but they press a little bit more. It's going to be a huge challenge for Pitt.
Ball out wide for Kozamara. Again, playing more on the wing and more of a forward spot this year after mainly being in a defender role his first couple of years as a transfer from Temple, where it was used primarily on D. Chavi O'Neal steps up, but it was quickly knocked down. Centering ball, header try, but the whistle came out first. And a foul was called against Luis Samkow, the junior from Richardson, Texas. 2 goals so far this year for Samkow. And a goal kick here for Brendan Klein in Boston College.
Yeah, with Thorson out, I think you're going to see Samkow and Kozamara do a lot up top there. They work well together. They have done so far this year. And Thorson's a big loss for tonight, but there's a lot of depth on this Pitt bench to come in for these guys if they need a rest.
Again, similar to what you'll see out of a Boston College. Pitt holding on a possession there. That was Jackson Gilman, the All-ACC freshman team selection from a year ago. One of the best freshmen in the country, and he's turned in one of the best players in the country on the back line now for Pitt. Mercado gives it away for Mirkovic. Mirkovic, who had 2 assists in the win against Wake Forest, now up to 21 in his Pitt career, which is 4th most in Pitt program history. Little give and go play. Rafa Selly. And that ball is out for Pitt throw.
Across here and a clear out by BC. And there's Elfie with a couple of nice little touches. You get the ball at Elfie's feet, and he's going to do a lot. He's very talented. Coach Thompson's talked about that. Comes from a great academy program in England, and he's one of those very talented players. Not the hugest kid, but he's going to make things happen out there.
C.J. Williams had to guide that ball back to Brendan Klein. Alfie Hughes, who played the last couple of years for Leeds United Academy. Prior to that was part of the Manchester United Academy. A very accomplished player. And Bob Thompson said he's as technically sound on the ball as you'd expect someone with that pedigree to be. That ball is out on the near side. Alfie Hughes, one of a number of freshmen on this Boston College team, as we've talked a lot about. Really, both of these teams, quite a bit of turnover from last season. The Eagles, it's more about their freshmen and sophomore, with over 70% of their field minutes coming from underclassmen. That is up onto the camera well, and everybody good up there?
We heard that one. Right above us.
Greek gives us thumbs up. We make sure everything's okay. We talked about it with Pitt on the other side. Pitt lost 15 players from last year's College Cup team, losing 67% of their goals. And while they returned 12, they only returned 7 players that appeared in more than 5 matches last year. So even if it's not freshmen and sophomores, it is a lot of new faces. And Jay Vidovich talked with us about the early part of the season here has been about still kind of working in our philosophy of what we want to do on what is really a very different team this year.
Yeah, I think as the season progresses, they're going to need to build upon that philosophy, you know, because there are a lot of new faces, and that's the same thing with BC as well.
Wide for Toure. Nice work to get working against Murphy. Leaves it back for Mayufo. Mercado. Okay to retreat to Jackson Gilman, the sophomore, wearing the captain's armband for the Panthers. Mayufo for Gilman. As again, Pitt content to hold on to possession here. Dos Santos pressing for Boston College, as is Farwell.
So you can see things have settled down a little bit.
Good passing. Sealy on the outside. Taken away by Boston College. Jack Burkhart stepped in. And now Dos Santos chasing after it for BC, but it's Jackson Gilman there for Pitt. And we'll play it back to his goalkeeper, Cabral Carter, the sophomore from Los Angeles. After not playing a year ago, he's started all 6 games for Pitt so far this year. And you're really starting to even see the improvement game over game for Carter. 5 saves in each of his last 2 games, tying his season high. Jay Vidovich has already been impressed with the strides that he's made for a goalkeeper that's only started 5 career matches.
He's seen his fair amount of shots, and well, like we talked about in the beginning, that's what BC needs to do, is take more shots to test him.
You saw on that last push, Moritz Gundelach way up the pitch, one of the defenders for Boston College. See the willingness of Boston College to throw some of their defenders forward. And Gundelach has still moved farther up than we've seen at times, with Jonathan Murphy staying back on one of the wings.
And they did this in the last 15 minutes against NC State. It was a little too late, but you know, I think that's Coach Thompson is trying to, you know, impose upon them, is you need to get forward. You can't just sit back and play defense, and obviously defense is key, but you need to push up a bit, and looks like they're trying to do that a little bit here in the beginnings of this game.
Long ball for Dos Santos, working with Gilman, and Jackson Gilman did a good job to hold his position for Pitt. Gundelach sends it forward. Farwell got a piece. And that is out for Boston College throw.
The longer BC keeps the ball down to this end, the more confidence they're going to build, better chances they're going to get, obviously. So they're setting the tone early.
Klein plays it for Ted Cargill. The Eagles working in a bit of a diamond with Pitt putting on some pressure. Here is Marco Dos Santos, a freshman from New Hampshire. Murphy couldn't quite get it through Mayufo. Ted Cargill on the takeaway.
That's a great play by Cargill.
Cargill
Use the body to separate.
With help wide for Chavi O'Neal. Settles, crosses, got deflected, still alive, turning shot. Mayufo got a piece for Pitt before it was cleared out.
And that's what you like to see, especially in the middle of the field. Cargill used his body to separate, got the ball back. Fantastic play, and look what it resulted in, almost a quality shot opportunity in the box.
Pitt with a throw in for the near side, so 15 minutes in. And this was one of the best looks so far for Boston College.
And there's Cargill right there. Beautiful play. Knocks him off the ball, brings it forward. Now the ball's in the box. Dangerous situation. Unable to settle it there, and there's a little bit of traffic on Pitt's end, but that's what you want. Get in the box, get those opportunities.
And Cargill was right back in position there. Aiden Farwell was the one trying to take the shot and steer it towards Cargill. The Panthers were able to get in position defensively, and that time Dos Santos runs over Philip Mercado. A senior from Columbia who comes in from the University of Charleston, moving up to the Division I level this year, and has stepped in with 1 assist so far, playing his 6th game, playing in a right back or center midfield role.
Now Pitt controlling the tempo a little bit. So this is a back and forth game. I have a feeling it's going to be like this a lot tonight.
Along with Eric Sunstead, former star at Syracuse in the Big East, now Babson assistant coach. Eric Galanti with you. Appreciate you joining us for Friday night ACC men's soccer. The second game of this regular ACC season for both of these teams. Men's soccer is unique in one of the Olympic sports that does not play its non-conference and conference schedules separated. It is intermixed. So after this game, both of these teams will go back out of conference. Pitt playing Fairleigh Dickinson on Monday, where Boston College will play their crosstown rivals BU on Tuesday. The way both these teams are playing, you have to be so crisp on your passing.
Absolutely. And you'll see here BC coming back on D a little bit. They tend to come back, and if Pitt gets the ball in the box, as they're about to right here, you're going to see so many white shirts. 7 or 8 white shirts get back in the box. It's been a great setup and situation for Coach Thompson, and I know that's great defending. Now what they're trying to do is push it forward and actually try to get some results on the offensive end, because they've only scored 3 goals so far this year. And the shots are, as we mentioned, they're way too low, and I think that will change, but they've been focused so much on defending that the offense needs to take precedence in these next few games.
And I think we've seen a lot of, and Bob Thompson's even said this with some of the youth aspect of this that we've talked about, that a lot of this does take time and is a process.
Absolutely.
A couple of headers on it for Pitt before C.J. Williams. Trying to get it over top for Dos Santos. Knocked down. That's Felipe Mercado once again, who goes wide out for Rafael Sealy. Pitt throwing, gets Michael Sullivan going. Sullivan, who started all 6 games this year, someone who's had to step into a role with the Panthers missing some pieces in the early part of this season. Guilherme Fatosa who is out right now due to injury, someone that Jay Vidovich talked about. He was really crushed for him as a player, but also just the chance to work with him as a player he was really excited for, and Sullivan's kind of taken on that role, the junior from Pennsylvania. Scored 2 goals in the ACC tournament first round game a year ago against NC State. Pitt, who finished just 3-2-3 in the ACC, not a record that necessarily jumps out, but got hot at the right time in the NCAA tournament, including a win over number 1 Kentucky in the Sweet 16, got to host an Elite 8 game, and ended up falling in the College Cup to Indiana 2-0. Pitt, one of 2 ACC teams making the College Cup last year, along with Syracuse, who, of course, went on to win the national championship. Speaking of the defending champs, Pitt will play Syracuse in their next ACC game after this one on Friday up in central New York, a week from tonight. Whistle here, Rashawn Clark, our referee. There was some contact on the near side with the Pitt player down. C.J. Williams for Boston College will pick up the first card of this game, granted a yellow here.
Yeah, he came in a little hard, but nothing card worthy, I don't think.
Well, he does get one.
Yeah, well, officiating, I don't know. It's judgment call sometimes. I understand why he would do that, but there's a lot of fouls out there that don't warrant yellow cards.
So Pitt will get a free start here. Mateo Mayufo will elect to go backwards, and the Panthers on possession here. 0-0 first half from Newton. Pitt and Boston College. Panthers, who were picked 4th overall in the ACC in the preseason, and once again first in the Coastal Division. Of course, it's an unbalanced ACC schedule. Dos Santos up the right side against Mayufo. And a good job by Mayufo to force him off. Though it does lead to the 3rd corner kick of the game for Boston College.
I like Dos Santos taking him on there, though. That's what you need to do. You're down in the area, you're close to the box. You want to take a man on, one-on-one, see if you can get it crossed off. Create those chances in the box, get a corner out of it. That's all you can ask for now.
Dos Santos starts quickly. Farwell earns another.
And on the other end, you want to avoid giving up corners, especially to Pitt, as they scored 2 the other night against Wake Forest. Fantastic corners and goals.
First one the Eagles have sent towards goal right off the corner so far. BC will get possession back.
And that's nice by BC, switching the field, using the space a little bit, sort of take Pitt out of their game.
It's a series all time that Boston College leads 12-5-2. Though Pitt has won 2 of the 3 meetings since Jay Vidovich took over. Again, these 2 teams have not been in the same division in the ACC, so it has not been a yearly series. And it's just the 4th meeting in Jay Vidovich's 8 seasons at the helm of the Panthers. Abdoulaye Touré down the right side, taken off by Jonathan Murphy.
Great defensive play by Murphy. Again, use the body like Cargill did in the middle of the field earlier.
Murphy, who's played a little bit farther back than we've seen at times. This is offside.
Yeah, he was
The flag was up for Luka Kozmara on that right side.
It's a beautiful ball, but he was offsides.
Go back to the Murphy play first.
Yeah, he just, he used his body to separate, got the ball. It's exactly what Cargill did in the middle of the field. And then this long ball, which ended up being offsides. But it was, he slips in behind there. Cozamaro's dangerous. You got to be careful of 19 up there. It's not going to be called offsides every time. Just got to be careful. Be aware of that.
As we said, Cozamaro is primarily used as a defender at Temple in his first couple of seasons. Jay Vidovich likes the idea of having him on the wing, but also being able to use his propensity to defend is a real asset for Pitt. Early in this season had been coming off the bench. Again, today is starting with Albert Thorsen, the first year from Norway, out today.
And it'll be interesting to see how this game progresses with Cozamaro starting, because there is a lot to be said for a guy like that, your leading scorer, to come off the bench, and he's been the leading scorer. Probably a lot of the reason was because he's coming off the bench and getting opportunities that maybe other guys weren't getting, taking advantage of it. Tonight he starts. He seems to be doing well, but it'll be interesting to see if he can capitalize again on getting good shots off and actually scoring a goal.
Dos Santos with a lot of space. Tried to play it through to Murphy. Was taken off the ball by Mayufo. Murphy knocks that down. Ball comes out on the near side. Too strong on the touch from Cargill.
Pitt doing a great job moving the ball, switching the field. 1 and 2 touches. Now they're going to settle, see if they can get something going here. Moving forward. It's a great takeaway there. Oh, and that's a bad, I think that's a foul. I definitely think that's a foul. I don't know. We'll have to see the replay. But
Luis Samkow, who took Boston College off possession. And now the Eagles are back on it with Burkhart. Up ahead for Alfie Hughes. On the run now, and Hughes will leave it wide for Chavi O'Neal to run underneath. O'Neal from that dangerous side shoots on, and a big save from Cabral Carter.
That's a great opportunity. That's what we need to see from BC. We need Chavi O'Neal to take advantage of shots up top like that. Okay, and that's the separation, and that looked like a foul. He's knocked over. Dos Santos was knocked over. They didn't call it. Chavi on the other end with a nice shot. That's exactly how NC State scored against BC on their first goal the other night. It was a beautiful shot, upper right-hand corner. That time for Chavi didn't go in, but same exact setup.
Leads to another corner kick. Eagles have had 5 so far. Hughes trying to get space. Left-footed ball comes through, and then it's knocked out by Pitt.
And before Chavi actually got that chance, we haven't seen a lot of him yet tonight. I mean, he hasn't gotten the ball a whole lot on that left side. I think they need to kind of get the ball to him a little bit more. Those counterattacks, like what just happened, obviously they produce results. And Alfie now in the box with a nice...
Farwell missed it wide.
One-timer by Farwell. Yep, that was nice. We'll take a look at Alfie here, bringing it past midfield. And there's Chavi on the left side, and that's going to happen a lot tonight. Just hasn't happened quite so much yet, but I think as the game progresses, it will happen more, and great shot by Chavi.
Eagles leader in shots so far this year. That is his 2nd of the night and 13th of the season. Most of them coming on similar plays like that. That is knocked out deep into the last row of seats on the opposite side. On what is a cool night. you can feel the wind when you're down on the pitch. It is certainly cooler than it's been the last couple of days. It's not anything sustained or crazy where you see the trees moving or anything like that, but reports from the folks downstairs is you can definitely feel it. Again, nothing significant in terms of whatever impact might come from Hurricane Lee, which again is approaching the area and likely to affect things more so overnight tonight into tomorrow, and potentially a football game down the road Boston College is hosting against Florida State. But you certainly feel a little bit of wind tonight as they play here with 15 minutes remaining in this first half from Newton, Massachusetts. Boston College and Pittsburgh, and each's second ACC match of the season. Nice one touch there to find Mercado. Sends it wide for Lefebvre. Mirkovic, centering try, knocked down by Sullivan, turning bicycle kick, missed it wide.
Good opportunity, a couple of nice 1 and 2 touches and a diamond over there on the right side. And the one-time cross. Settles it, turns, shoots. Low percentage shot, probably deflects off BC, off of Cargill for a corner kick, but get the ball in the area and you want to take a shot.
First corner kick of the night for Pitt. And it's Philip Mirkovic. First head on it was BC. Mayufo, a little bit too strong on it. And possession will go back to the Eagles.
And it's interesting. Pitt is coming up with a few errors on their own, whether you call that an unforced error or not. The pressure from BC, I think, is affecting them a little bit. I've seen a couple times they've knocked it out of bounds, and probably due to BC's pressure. And I think that's a good thing mentally for BC. Pitt just not quite sharp as they were the other night against Wake Forest.
Farwell called for offside.
Oh, he's going to give him a card.
That will go against Diego Ochoa for Boston College. Picks up the second yellow card that has been handed out to BC so far tonight.
Yeah, definitely a foul. Doesn't get the ball. Takes out his legs a little bit there. And that could be a lot worse than it was. You know, a dangerous play like that, you can blow out a knee, blow out an ankle. But it's a hard tackle, you know, it's setting the tone, it's coming in hard on tackles. You know, was it a yellow? Probably worth a yellow card. Whereas the one previously earlier in the game, I don't think was.
We will have a conversation with Diego Ochoa coming up about being the captain of the Eagles this year. Stay with us at the half. Felt like as this half has gone on, we've seen maybe a little bit more possession for Pitt, but the Eagles have pressed pretty well and been able to still have a good amount of opportunity.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think just to mention a couple of minutes ago that, you know, they are pressing a little bit more. They are putting a little bit of pressure on Pitt. And whether they're unforced errors on Pitt's end or not, I think they're feeling that, they're sensing that there's a little bit of pressure, and they're sensing that closing in on, you know, when BC's defending. So it is causing a little bit of havoc for Pitt. It's not as smooth as they'd like it to be, I don't think.
You mentioned the shot disparity that Pitt has had so far this year. They're averaging nearly 9 shots in the first half so far this year per game. Today, just 2.
And I think they're averaging like 14 shots a game or something like that. And BC's averaging, I don't even know what it is, 4, something like that. So, yeah, huge disparity between the two teams. But tonight's a little bit different. I think BC is certainly playing up to par and making this a huge challenge for Pitt.
Yeah, Pitt averaging 14.4 shots per game. Overall, that one is played towards the far side of the post and is out. 5 on goal. For Boston College, it's 8.6 shots a game, but only 3 on goal per contest.
Okay, so a little cross here into the box. You get a foot on that. Good defending, though, closing in on it.
Sullivan's been involved here quite a bit for the Panthers. You face those moments of in-season adversity sometimes, and it's still relatively early in the season, but Jay Vidovich really talked about just what a long week it was last week, and basically starting on Friday the 1st, really a tough loss to Georgetown that he just described as such, 4-1. Turned around, played number 2 Marshall on Tuesday, the 3-1 loss, and then beating Wake Forest on Saturday, 3-0. So in the span of 8 days, 2 really tough losses and arguably the best win of the season. This is offsides as Murphy was up with the flag up on the near side.
Yeah, it was interesting. 4-1 to Georgetown, 3-1 to Marshall, and then come back and beat, top ACC team in Wake Forest 3-0. So any given day you could show up and play unbelievably well, and then the next day you're not playing so well. So I think Coach Vidovich was kind of acknowledging that in the call the other day. And it's a tough season. There's a lot of games, a lot of tough games.
Alfie Hughes got it over to Burkhart. Nice move there by Brennan Klein.
He's got to be careful back there. I've seen him do that in a few games, and he has enough foot skill to do that, but he definitely needs to be careful because it's a game of inches. You get a toe on that, and it's you in the goal.
Certainly plays with a lot of confidence.
And the back pass, and there's Klein. Just outside the box. He couldn't do a whole lot because he couldn't pick it up, obviously. A little fancy move to bring it back into the box, into safety, but that can be risky.
Ochoa over top. Settles here for Murphy. Jonathan Murphy goes wide. Chavi O'Neal is there. O'Neal on the edge of the box. Back for Ochoa. And that is too high. And the Eagles were offside.
And you could kind of see there that a lot of Pitt players kind of collapsed into the box. So there wasn't a whole lot of to do inside the box. There wasn't anyone open. So Murphy gets it crossed way over to Chavi. But as you can see, there's a number of blue shirts there. Elfie trying to get a break away there from 21. And then a quick cross, which ended up being offsides. But I think you need to get the ball to feet sometimes in the box so you can turn and take a shot. The crosses don't always work.
Long ball is too far and out. Alfie Hughes tries to use his speed on the outside, was momentarily knocked off by Sullivan. For another Boston College throw with 7:12 remaining in a 0-0 first half from Newton. Jack Burkhart making his second start in a row. Freshman from Sutton, Mass. That's the thing, when you have a young team, you have the opportunity to earn playing time and earn minutes. There's a lot of positions to be had. Dos Santos in behind and got knocked off. To Ray, trying to get around Williams, throws one through. Ochoa knocked it out. Ball stayed in, and it's alive here for Sullivan. Mayufo with space. Sullivan tries one and stopped by Klein.
That was a decent shot. Klein was right there, no problem. You cannot afford to allow opportunities like that, though. A nice couple moves here. Crossing the C.J. Williams got back, contained the man okay. And then you see Sullivan there with a shot. No problem for Klein.
How about the footwork from Chavi O'Neal? Hughes gives it right back. O'Neal centering one, looking for Dos Santos, but he was forced off by Jackson Gillum. Good effort by the Eagles, but you see why Gillum was one of the best freshmen in the country last year.
And that's why you got to get Xavi O'Neal involved in these offensive plays. That's a perfect example. There's been a lot of talk about how talented he is. Just such a youngster. But on that left side, he's so dangerous. BC hasn't done a whole lot on that left side yet tonight, except for there and a couple of other chances, but I think they need to do that a little bit more.
First two subs of the half for Boston College, and most notably, Augustine Bawadi, the sophomore from Ghana, will make his first appearance since the opener against Merrimack, where he was injured. He's missed the last 4 games. That is huge for Boston College to see Bawadi back and having an opportunity. Drew Serafino also came into the game for BC. It's Farwell and Murphy came out.
And he's on.
Serafino is in a good spot. Who wins the race? Mayufo did a wonderful job to get there and knock that out. Excellent play by the Frenchman.
Nice long ball. And there's Serafino running hard, just coming into the game. Doing a great job running it down.
Bawadi knocked it for Hughes. Hughes cuts back to his left. Tries to center up for Dos Santos. And Pitt absorbs the rush and clears, and then a whistle here against C.J. Williams. Remember, Williams and Ochoa are playing on yellows for Boston College, and now Bawadi is playing on a yellow as well.
That's interesting. Some officials really like to pull out that yellow card.
Let's see. That was not the one that was called. That was Williams.
I think they're calling the delay by holding the ball and right there.
Yeah.
And giving a warning. I don't know. We don't know what's going on out there. We don't know what's being discussed. But I don't know if a yellow card's warranted there.
Maybe some kind of delay of game situation, perhaps. So Bawadi called, and that ball comes out the near side. So 3:30 remaining here, first half, and still 0-0. Boston College and Pitt. Another Eagles throw. Coming up at halftime, as we said, we'll have a conversation with Boston College's captain, Diego Ochoa. Highlights, stats, some out-of-town scores, and hope to chat with both coaches as well. That is all coming up. Part of our ACC Network Extra halftime report tonight. Ball Ball goes through. That is Carter who jumps out with Boati crashing in.
Couple minutes here. BC looking to put a little bit of pressure on. They could take advantage of these last couple of minutes.
Klein goes to the left foot, gets it ahead for Alfie Hughes. Got a good ball ahead. And the Eagles on the run. O'Neal working against Mirkovic. And Mirkovic is called for the foul. And the Eagles will get a free kick. And Xavi O'Neal trying to pump up the crowd here in Newton.
Well, that's what you need. Minute and a half left. This a nice set piece opportunity here for BC. Let's see what they do in the box. They have the set up. C.J. Williams obviously coming up. Big body. Going to lock as well.
It's Cargill and Dos Santos on the ball for BC. And you see Xavi O'Neal as well right on the left side of your screen. With under a minute to go here in this first half. Cargill knocked out by Pitt. Still alive for Burkhart, plays it right back in, looking for a header, and Carter jumps over Boati to make the play.
Not the best cross, a little bit too high, obviously. But once you get into the box with not much time left in the half, anything can happen. Keeper did not hold on to it perfectly. Cabral Carter there. Never know what's going to happen in the box, so good opportunity. Only 10 seconds left now.
And maybe one more try. Hughes, gotta go quick. Alfie Hughes to his right. That's deflected. Deflected up into the air there, and it's cleared out. Couple of good surges at the end there for Boston College. At the end of what is a 0-0 first half between BC and Pitt.
Alfie Hughes, obviously very technical player. Nice little touch to the right there. Gets a shot off with not much time left. It is deflected, but hey, you got to take the shot.
Yeah, that's just an opportunity with just a few seconds, as we've talked about, left in the half. Had the earlier opportunity as well off of the free kick in what was some good momentum. Shots end up 5-4 in favor of Boston College over Pitt. The shots on goal, just one each. And as we talked about, for a Pitt team that averages 9 shots per first, sometimes they don't. This one's been fairly even and fairly down in terms of the shot versus where Pitt's average normally is. And it was something that after, being outscored 7-2 in back-to-back games, the Panthers were able to achieve some of those scoring results. Now, a lot of that was offset pieces in their 3-0 win against Wake.
Yeah, and I don't like to harp on stats a lot, but they are important in a lot of ways. And I think the shot production, or the lack of shot production from any team, is an indication of what's going on within the team and the mindset and the offensive or defensive mentality. So, you don't want to harp on stats, but they are important in a lot of ways. It is even tonight. BC is picking it up and getting more shots than they normally do. Pitt, not so much. So it's interesting to see.
Throw in here as we switch ends of the field. And Pitt plays in the far corner. Mayufo throws one on. Brennan Klein is right there. And he will steer things back the other way. Oh, it's kind of the mindset be of both of these coaches with their teams and what they saw out of each team's first half.
Well, I think first and foremost, it's the second ACC match for these teams, and they know that the ACC games are going to be the toughest throughout the year. So to come out even and take the positives for whatever that may be for each team is what they're looking at, and they're trying to build upon that and probably told the guys at halftime what they need to work on.
Throw-in coming up for Chavi O'Neal. And you certainly see the skill that he has from that left side. O'Neal, who is from Herndon, Virginia, played a couple of years in the DC United Academy. Ochoa centering one. Bowati was nearly there, but the flag was up on Boston College on the far side.
A lot of times you see these opportunities where there's crosses into the box and guys are just barely offsides. I see that a lot in college soccer now. The offsides flag goes up. So sometimes it's just an awareness situation of the forward. Sometimes it's just defenders stepping up a bit and catching these guys offsides.
Gundelach is called for the foul.
Now, I think that was just a matter of a bigger body hitting a smaller body. Now, I guess maybe it was a foul, but we'll see the replay here. He comes in pretty hard. He's going for the ball. I guess that's a foul, but it really is kind of a weight distribution thing more than anything. He's going to call that though.
Not a card here on Gundelach, just the foul. Hughes did a good job to dispossess Pitt. Panthers wanted a foul, did not get one.
Hughes. And that was off of Pitt. Now they're claiming it wasn't. It was definitely off of Pitt, though.
In a tight area, and it's played back to Gundelach. Over top for Hughes. Alfie tried to get a piece of that ball as he was gliding through. Couldn't quite control it. Played back to center here for Samkow. The longer a game like this stays 0-0, you'd have to think that would benefit the perceived underdog, in this case, the team not ranked right now, which is Boston College.
Yeah, and I think as far as the mentality piece to that as well, absolutely. Your confidence is building. Pitt just took care of the number 9 team in the country, Wake Forest, just the other night. And now BC is doing well and playing with Pitt, no problem. So the more you build upon that, the more confidence you get and the more opportunities you get.
Toure, who was playing a little bit more on the left side earlier, now here on the right side for Pitt. Mirkovic gets it right back, but it was a little bit too far off his touch. These are two teams who certainly understand how to play at home. You see Boston College, 13 wins at home under Bob Thompson, 13-3-6 in his now 4th season at the helm of BC. Of course, Pitt knows something about playing well at home. They have barely lost at home over the last 5 seasons, 34-5-5. The loss to Marshall was just their 5th home loss in the last 5 years.
And you talk about stats, too, and again, we don't really want to dwell on the stats, but the stat you and I talked about earlier, 45-1-3 when Pitt scores first, is just, that's an amazing stat.
That's over since 2019.
Since 2019, since the first game of 2019. So the longer that BC can hold them off and maybe put one in the net, chances are BC's going to win. According to the stats, anyway.
That's right. Yeah, they've certainly been elite front runners over the last 5 seasons. Over top to Ray, gonna get to it, crosses. Was trying to find Kozamara on that wide side. Pitt still working here. Rafael Sile. To Ray, couldn't get back to it. Ochoa shields him well.
Ochoa doing a great job there, defending. And here's a cross through ball. Ochoa getting back, and the cross a little bit too far. Still in possession. Opportunity. Those opportunities you have guys crashing down on the in the penalty area. No one was there that time. The cross was too far, but Pitt putting the pressure on a little bit. And BC definitely defending and getting back on D like they should, and they have all year.
Good force forward by Cargill, but it was a little too strong. Jackson Gilman goes to chase it down. This is what both teams want to do, right? Hold possession as much as possible. Alfie Hughes working against Mirkovic. Does a nice job to earn possession. Gives Bowati a chance. Matisse Lefebvre, the junior from Lyon France, was there.
Alfie Hughes dribbling out a little bit of trouble there. Fantastic opportunity. Gives the through ball on the outside. Didn't work that time, but you're right. The possession is key here. You need to maintain possession for the rest of the half as much as possible.
Whistle here. They're going to bring it back from earlier in the sequence. And Boston College will have possession. 10 minutes in, second half. And a game that is still without our first goal.
Ochoa having a discussion with the head official.
Looked like Burkhart was tying his shoe and Ochoa was waiting. Not exactly sure what happened after that. On we play though, and that is out, and that's off Pitt. So it's a corner kick for Boston College.
Yep, good job by Dos Santos there on the far side. Get a corner out of it. Take advantage of these corners. This is where the runs in the box are going to be important.
Dos Santos wide for Chavi O'Neal. Back for Dos Santos. Towards goal. Knocked down. And that is steered out. Off of Pitt. Another corner kick for BC.
So the the corner, one-timer back into the box.
O'Neal, good move, goes wide. Eagles trying again. Cargill throws it through. That was knocked down.
Offsides, I think.
Yep, flag was up on the far side.
So that's tough. When you have a lot of bodies in the box there, you're going to see the end of the corner kick here. There's a get the head off and defended pretty well by Pitt. There's just so many bodies in there. It's really hard to settle the ball and actually get an opportunity. Goes off a Pitt. They get another corner out of it. But when there's that much chaos in the box, it's really hard and really difficult to get a good quality chance off. And I think a lot of teams are trying to do that, and they're trying to serve the ball in the box, but either there aren't enough, well-timed runs by those guys in the box, or there's just too many bodies on defense.
Abdoulaye Touré gives it off for Sealy. Burkhart got a piece of it for Boston College. Alfie Hughes in a deep spot. Mercado did a good job to step up and play it. And it's onto the back line. Nice touch. Ahead for Sam Cow. Sam Cow circling. Onto the left. Good spot. Mirkovic. Plays it wide. Chances here. That shot deflects through and out. What a try from Kozamara. That was the best setup we'd seen from Pitt so far tonight.
Yeah, you see Sam Cow and Kozamara involved heavily in this offensive threat here. The dish off, and there's Kozamara with the left-footed shot. He's dangerous every time he gets the ball in the box, as you saw right there.
First header on it was Dos Santos. Still alive for Pitt. Mirkovic plays it on again. Header is just too high.
And there's another cross. Beautiful opportunity there. Lefebvre, and just over the crossbar. But that's Mirkovic on the outside there. The crosses. He's the one that had 2 assists on the corner kicks the other night against Wake Forest. He knows how to serve the ball. That was a great opportunity for Lefebvre. He just couldn't put it in.
Mirkovic, who is the preseason second-team All-American this year, following up a wonderful junior season where he was an All-ACC first-team selection. Mentioned up to 21 assists. He's 5 shy of tying the program record. Touré. Pitt's getting more opportunities in their attacking third here in this second half. Mirkovic. Nice move. Touré. Bouncing through, and Klein comes in and has to lunge on it.
Torre trying to get there. You got to give credit to BC there though when they collapse back on D. Like I said in the earlier part of the game, they bring their midfielders back. There's 7 or 8 guys in the box.
Rashawn Clark has called in. I was waiting for Michael Sullivan of Pitt to come in. No card was given, just the conversation.
Klein looks like he's a little sore on that one.
Deep ball knocked out. Serafino will have the throw. So off a good goal kick, the Eagles will get an opportunity.
Again, you want to sort of look at this set piece as, similar to a corner kick, and what are the guys going to do at the top of the box, make their runs inside the area. This will be a serve.
Cargill and Dos Santos for Boston College. Bounces down, there's room wide. Xavi O'Neal trying to get to the outside. Touré knocked him off for a moment. Ted Cargill. Dos Santos had to hold up to avoid saying onside. And then that does go out for a goal kick.
That's a tough one. Cargo was looking for obviously the quick blooper over the defender. And Xavi here on see the replay on the left side. A nice cross, switch the field. Cargill taking his time. Offsides though. You saw there, the Pitt just fell back across the whole length of the top of the box. A lot of body, a lot of blue shirts there. Tough to penetrate.
Yep, Bowati nearly got by. Mercado is in there for Pitt. Eagles, a lot of work there. It's still out off of Boston College. Panthers have not made a sub so far tonight. The Eagles have just made 2. Bowati and Serafino, who are both still out there after coming in at the end of the first half. Sullivan with room to run. Toure. It's a touch behind Sealy, but Toure got it right back. Working against Xavi O'Neal. Sealy throws it on. Header was too tall. Mirkovic got a piece, but Dos Santos clears it downfield.
This is where Boston College needs to press a bit here.
Mirkovic with options goes wide. Kozamara pulling away from Serafino. Mirkovic serves it in right on Klein.
Serafino coming back on D, does a nice job containing. And then Mirkovic with what looked like a little bit of a cross, hoping for a flick on there into the net. A little bit too high. But again, Mirkovic is one of those guys who can serve it from anywhere, as we saw the other night. So he's dangerous on the wings and on the outside of the box.
Xavi O'Neal was down for Boston College, so they will call for the trainer here.
Xavi O'Neal. Xavi O'Neal down right now, slightly injured, but here he is again. First minute of the game, first 30 seconds of the game. That would have made all the difference. And on the left side again here with a fantastic shot. Exactly the same situation as how NC State scored against BC the other night. And Alfie Hughes giving it up to Xavi again. Nice cross. Unfortunately, Murphy could not get on the end of it, but those are the opportunities that Xavi O'Neal creates for BC. He's standing up now. He looks like he's going to be okay, but such a dangerous player on the left side.
This is going to end up turning into a hydration break for both teams. With 26-14 remaining in this second half, game remains 0-0 between Boston College and Pitt. Second ACC game of the season for each of these teams. Boston College dropped its opener to NC State. Well, as we talked about, Pitt with the big win over Wake Forest. It's a unique ACC schedule in men's soccer, as we talked about. It's unbalanced. You play your division plus a crossover or two. You certainly don't see everyone in. With a league that has this many really good teams, there is a lot of variability in the schedule that can really affect how your season goes, depending on who you might play from the other side.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you have the top 5 teams scheduled on, and you play them in one, in a stretch of a couple of weeks or whatever. It makes such a difference mentally and physically to play. I mean, obviously the ACC is the best conference in the country. I mean, it's day in and day out. We see that most ranked teams in the conference in the national polls. So yeah, you're right. It's difficult. But again, and we talked about this last year as well. Any ACC team can beat any team. It's whether if Duke's number 1 or Syracuse is number 1. Some of the lower teams in the conference, if you can call them that, which you can't really, but it's the teams that aren't quite doing as well record-wise. They can beat those top teams.
Here's a cross. Sam Cow got a piece. Played it back well. Kozamara was knocked down. Serafino shielding, and that is out. And a goal kick for Boston College.
Serafino doing a great job coming back on D and holding up his own to help out the backs there.
By the way, Jonathan Murphy came into the game for O'Neal after that last injury sequence. And here Aiden Farwell comes in for Dos Santos. Eagles will retreat all the way back to Klein. Mirkovic for Sullivan. Mayufo goes wide. Sealy to Ray, cutting through Murphy. So we've seen again in this second half a few more of those sequences. 4 or 5 passes in a row completed for Pitt. Now can they get to the next level of it and really try for a chance on goal?
Right, and at the same time, like you just saw there, BC came back and sort of collapsed 3-on-1, 3-on-2, whatever, and dispossessed the ball from Pitt. So they need to continue to do that in the back if Pitt's going to move forward and put the pressure on. But then again, the counterattack. You want BC to control the ball, move it upfield, and try to get something going on the other end. You want to limit Pitt's possession. They're doing a good job. Right now Pitt is possessing the ball in these last few minutes. You want to put a little bit of pressure on them to dispossess the ball from them.
Good long ball down the left side. Kazumara does get to it. It bounces through. Murphy clears.
I think they're saying that was out of bounds.
Yeah, I think so too. So
yeah. I was surprised the whistle wasn't blown before that, but.
Down to 22 minutes to go. Remember the rule changed last year, no more overtime in college soccer. So just the 21:52 that's left.
I don't like that rule, by the way. The no overtime, I just don't. I mean, at the Division III level, Williams College last year had 11 ties, and they made it to the national championship game.
Oh, here's a dangerous ball. It sits free. Klein falls on it and finds it with Mirkovic right on top. A dangerous ball here in the box.
And Klein did a good job, didn't get a hold of it. And that's Mirkovic kind of falling over him. Unintentional, I think. It's a little scrappy. Klein holding his own, though.
Still just one official shot on goal for each team. Overall, 6-5 shots in favor of Pitt. And again, you look at the discrepancy of some of the other statistics. 7-2 in corners for Boston College, 7-1 in the number of times they've been called for offsides. So just in terms of sending people forward. But have seen more of this, though there. Gundelach forced his man off the ball. That is Sam Cowell who's down, and Rushan Clark has no interest in it.
That's a body check, hip check, hockey play, if you will. It's interesting, the official hasn't been 100% consistent with his calls or non-calls tonight.
This is over top, going to be too far for anyone to chase down. And Cabral Carter runs underneath it. There's that little bit of nip in the air, getting closer to hockey season around these parts.
A little nippy in the air because the Hurricane Lee is on its way, I think.
And we certainly hope for everybody for the best, for whatever remnants of the storm blow through New England over the next 12 to 15 hours. Mirkovic goes wide. Casamoro knocks it down well, but Mayufo couldn't quite control it, and here is Aiden Farwell on the run for Boston College. Pushed off by Mercado, and it's out for a BC throw.
So here's the opportunity for Boston College to possess the ball, move it up.
Hughes on the near side. Give and go with Murphy. Cross comes through, and that's another corner kick. It's off of Mayufo.
Serafino a little late on that run into the box. There really wasn't anyone else either. Murphy with the left-footed cross. No one right there at the penalty area. And Serafino a little late on the back end. They get a corner out of it, but you need bodies in the box at that moment.
Eagles have really only sent one corner directly towards goal so far. Here's the second. Ochoa did not quite get a piece of it, and it's cleared out by Pitt.
And that was a good serve. That's the kind of serve you want, rather than a lofty ball over the head of everyone. You know, didn't get a good touch on that, but you want to get some good serves on. We haven't seen too many good serves from the corners tonight.
Ochoa over top for Murphy. Sealy ran it down first. And the whistle goes against Sealy and Pitt.
Yeah, he's not happy about that one. Murphy with a little shove. Not sure where the foul
I guess the
was
ruling
on that
is
one.
he prevents him from getting to the ball, but I'm not sure that Murphy was going to get there.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that call. If anything, it was a no call either way.
So it's a huge spot here for Boston College.
Yep, you want to treat this, obviously it's a set piece, similar to a corner. You want to see what's going on in the box. You want to make those runs, as I've mentioned a few times before. It just hasn't happened yet for either team. This is a dangerous situation.
It's Cargill. Goes deep, looking for Gundelach. That is off of Pitt. Grazed the head of Jackson Gilman.
Gundelach Yep, Gundelach made a good run on the back post there. Could not get on the end of it. C.J. Williams was right there as well. Off of Pitt. Another corner kick. So stat-wise, BC is certainly getting their corner kicks tonight.
Corner kick number 9 of the night. Out for Serafino. Forcing his way back through. Mirkovic with a great play. Pitt goes quickly. It's 3-on-2 back.
That's probably going to be a card.
And for exactly that reason, it's one you're almost okay giving up just because of what would have been
I agree.
numbers back the other way for the Panthers.
Yep, I agree. I mean, you sort of have to do it. The numbers were in Pitt's favor. Serafino clearly grabs his jersey. Definitely a yellow card, but, you know, sometimes it's worth it.
John, not too tight, John. Right there.
It's the 4th yellow card called against Boston College today.
A little bit of a chess match here with 15 minutes left.
Over top.
Handball. Looked like a handball.
Ozamara, it certainly hit the arm, maybe not the hand. As that is out for a deep throw. Ochoa's off the throw and taken away by Mirkovic. Pitt content to work backwards. Mirkovic for Kozamara, who's back on the right side now. Kozamara, Plinkoed through. Nice sliding play by Burkhart. And Bawadi clears.
Kozamara, he's the guy you need to be careful with. And Mirkovic there at the top of the box. If he had gotten a good shot off that, it could have been in the back of the net. But good defensive play. Again, this is what you needed to do, as we talked about earlier in the game. Close down Pitt shot opportunities. That's exactly what BC did right there. You know, that says it all right there. That's the key to the game, because they've given up way too many shots so far this season. Tonight is a different story.
Panthers just made their first substitution of the game. Noah Hall, the sophomore from Cincinnati, in, replacing Toure. It's felt like more of a professional tilt that way, with just 2 subs for Boston College and 1 now for Pitt. Here is Hall. First opportunity out wide. Serafino came through. BC possession down to 13:15 left in this 0-0 tie. Sullivan. Back for C.J. Williams in Boston College.
The Pitt pressing a little bit there, which has been effective. Now they get in the midfield.
Oh, here's
Nice
Bawadi
strip.
off a takeaway. Bawadi. And Pitt returned the favor there. Felipe Mercado came in and swiped it right back.
Yeah, the ref's not going to call that.
Nice job by Mercado to catch up. And then, C.J. Williams went down here for Boston College. kind of was on an open area on the pitch that Williams was down. And that's why they stopped play here with 11:56 remaining in the second. First, let's watch the strip from Bawadi.
Yep, he gets his toe in there. Unfortunately, it's 1v3, tries to cut across there, and that was not a foul, but a good defensive play. And he didn't have any help. He probably didn't really look back to see if there's any support.
It looked like right there may have been Luis Samkow makes some contact up high with Williams. I don't think it was anything. I don't think that was anything intentional. It was just two guys kind of going back, almost inadvertent. Williams is trying to argue it was something up high, but
yeah, he's not too uptight about it, so it couldn't have been too much of an issue, but he's got to come out for a bit.
Dos Santos was about to come in, so I think they're trying to decide whether Williams is going to come back in or if someone else is going to come into the game. Clock is stopped here, 11:56 remaining in the second. And Boston College will indeed sub here. So Max Andrews, the sophomore defender from Wilton, Connecticut, who came in as a transfer from Army, comes in for just the second time this year. Played 2 minutes in the opener against Merrimack. Andrews, who is the Patriot League Rookie of the Year last year for Army West Point. That is the first time all year that C.J. Williams has left the pitch.
Big shoes to fill, too.
Especially in this spot late in the game, that one of those center back roles is so crucial, especially in this style that Bob Thompson is employing with his Boston College team. Wide, it was cut off by Serafino and headed out. Sullivan comes wide for Sealy. Ochoa stepped up to make a play on it. And here is Ted Cargill for Boston College. Samkow comes back, though, and takes it away for Pitt. Well done by Luis Samkow. Ahead, Kozamora, stopped by Klein.
Now, my first thought on that was when Cargill tried to move forward and tried to dribble a little bit too much in the middle. Here you see he gets stripped. Now he's complaining that it was a foul, which it was not, and then all of a sudden a counterattack. In this league, at this level, that is the most dangerous thing to do. You got to be careful with taking care of the ball in the middle, especially there. I understand why Cargill was doing that. He's trying to break out and probably to get the ball out wide, but all it takes is 1 foot to get in there, strip the ball, and all of a sudden it's going the other way.
And we are down to our final 10 minutes tonight without a goal so far. Off of Burkhart and out. C.J. Williams, by the way, is back, ready to be subbed back into the game for Boston College, along with a couple of other subs, Dos Santos and Xavi O'Neal. And Pitt's going to make a few subs here as well at the next stoppage. Sullivan gives it through his back line. Mercado for Mirkovic. Plays it in, and Klein got there first, and then contact after the fact. Brennan Klein jumping out to get it, and then Kozamara coming in, and those two collide. And they will call for the trainers and stop the clock with 9:17 remaining in this second half. And both players in obvious pain.
Markovic with that serve, and then Klein comes out, does a great job getting that ball.
Caught knees.
It looks like maybe just like a Charlie Horse situation. Or he maybe got his ankle there, lower leg. I'm not sure. Collided legs. I think they'll both be okay. Good play by Klein, though, to come out and, be aggressive and make sure he gets that ball.
It's a tough one, right? Because Kozamara is coming in, and he's charging in. But yet, the burden's still sort of on him to avoid the contact with the keeper, and that's why he's the one who gets the yellow card at the end of it.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to call it against the offensive player. It's just the way it is. They want to protect the goalkeepers. Being sort of a forward my whole life, I was always, biased because I thought the refs were always giving the goalies the preferential treatment. But I understand why that situation was clearly, that was a foul. And then you get a card out of that.
So because the trainers come out, that's what stops the clock here. Kozamara has to come off the pitch. And Klein is in a good bit of pain here. And let's see what the Eagles decide to do.
I feel like he had a little bit of a hip issue earlier in the game, but I wasn't sure if it was his right hip like he's holding on to now.
Yeah, it's interesting because clearly the contact was on the leg, but as we talked about, you can kind of see where he's holding it, and the Eagles are going to have to make a change here. Leon Musial, who played one game earlier this year against Quinnipiac, is going to come into the game. What a spot here. So the Eagles, after 2 injury sequences in a row, have to replace their center back, though CJ Williams appears to be about ready to come back in, and now their keeper with 9:17 to go in regulation.
And I think this is where Coach Thompson's philosophy of, many men in the box, in the back, and their defensive, prowess so far this year has done a great job. The guys that are stepping in, Max Andrews, in the center back position, and Musial in goal. I mean, they're going to need to step up. This is where practice comes into play. They practice it all week. They need to defend well and hold off Pitt for these last 9 minutes.
Ball is out on the wide side. Kozamara is able to come back onto the pitch, and now we'll have subs both ways here. So for Pitt, Abdoulaye Touré is back into the game, and then Joao Souza is in for the first time, replacing the combination of Sullivan and Hall. For Boston College, it's Bowati, Farwell out along with Andrews. Williams comes back in to take his spot after the injury, and then Xavi Anil and Marco Dos Santos back into the game for BC. So O'Neill, Dos Santos, Williams back in for BC, Touré back in, and then Souza for the first time for Pitt. Walk me through a keeper coming in this spot. Hasn't faced a shot, obviously. Coming in cold, hasn't faced a shot in a long time, going back to in a game, August 28th. What are the feelings? What are the emotions? What's he dealing with in this spot?
Well, you always have to be ready. It's like a backup quarterback in football, right? You always have to be ready. It's one of those things. Mentally, it's challenging, but these guys are prepared. They're practicing all the time. Every week they're practicing for these situations, and they're getting, quality chances in practice every week. So the hope is that mentally you're strong enough. You just go in and you take care of business, and your defenders support you, and they know they have confidence in you. So it's just more than anything, I think it's just a mental game. You just got to be mentally strong. And at this level, most of these backup keepers are. There's going to be times where, they're going to have a hiccup here and there. But Musial's a good keeper. He's a very good keeper.
Jonathan Murphy on the throw-in. 7:05 remaining. Whistle here. Goes against Pitt.
Jonathan Murphy trying to take it a little bit further And defensive stop by Pitt results in a free kick. Again, need to take advantage of these. 6 minutes left.
It's Ted Cargill who will have the chance for Boston College. Cargill serves it deep. Knocked down. It's still in the box, but Carter comes out for Pitt and going to go quickly. Sam Cow is out there. He got a piece of it. But C.J. Williams forces it forward to Alfie Hughes.
Yeah.
Handball was whistled there, so Pitt gets possession. Just bounced up high on Hughes a bit.
Yeah, I like the fact that C.J. Williams came up there and was taking charge to try to move forward. Being aggressive in the last few minutes of this game.
Kozamara, too strong on his touch, and it's cleared way downfield. We talked a little bit about the idea that there's no more overtime, putting aside the whether it's a good idea or not, but does it change anyone's calculus here when you know there is no overtime behind you in a tie game with 5:20 to go?
I think with any game, no matter whether there's overtime or not, both teams want to win. I was just going to say that neither team is satisfied with a tie. So obviously you can see both teams are pressing. They're trying to make the most of their opportunities. So it is a good question because, you know, the mentality could be, in theory, that, yeah, we want to settle for the tie and be happy with you know, the 1 point. But in these situations, I think they're just both going for the win. And it's a matter of tactically whether BC can handle it or Pitt can handle it one way or the other. And we'll see what's going on here. I mean, you see everyone in the middle of the field right now. I think they're just looking for a flick on, BC is. But can Pitt maintain possession and move forward with it? We'll see right here.
Remember, the Eagles were forced to bring in Leon Musial. Certainly not like Musial hasn't played quite a bit last year and played a game earlier this year, but in cold with 9:17 remaining after the injury off a collision in the box to their keeper, Brennan Klein. Pitt pushing back. Oh, that was nearly a good run there by Joao Souza, the grad student from Brazil who came in as a transfer from Marshall. Couldn't quite connect on it. Aiden Farwell back in for BC. Alfie Hughes out with 3:55 to go. Imagine they're going to let him play this last 3:30.
Yeah, you would think so, and I think both teams need to kind of focus on that second ball, okay? So you've seen some serves from the back here. A lot of times they're looking for a flick on, but that second ball after the flick on is what both teams are going to be looking for because the second ball is so important.
At this stage, you will see the referee stop the clock more than normal. Rashawn Clark elects to do that. Felt that Cargill was taking a bit too long, so 3:17 here to go. Big serve, Williams got a piece of it. Spun in the box momentarily, now it's out for Jonathan Murphy. Cuts back off his left, Williams with a good touch. Dos Santos with the flag down, comes across, it was still loose and now cleared. Cargill tries to return it and works wide for Aiden Farwell with 2:52 to go. Farwell is forced off by Kozamara, and that's where his skill as a defender from the last couple of years playing on defense with Temple comes up huge for Pitt.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to see the replay here with Murphy. Nice little play here. Dishes it off. Williams lets it go. The cross in, and Gundlach was there. That was probably the best opportunity of the game, but he could not get his foot on it.
Pitt coming back here. Toure out wide. That was knocked out, and it's out off of Pitt. So a Boston College goal kick coming up. Certainly been more Pitt chances here in this second half, but again, still just the 2 total shots on goal today.
Yep. Klein coming out, doing a great job, holding his own in the box as he's done all night long. He's been in the right place at the right time. Nice save there. And yes, these crosses and these serves into the area are dangerous, but Klein has held his own and taken care of business.
And now, after having to come out of the 9:17 mark due to injury, Musial is in there. Dos Santos now for BC up the wing. Dos Santos right to the line, throws it in. Carter, it bounced up off him at first with O'Neal there, but then secured it well. Out to Pitt here, 1:24 to go. And anxious final moments of this ACC Friday night contest. Nice play by Serafino to knock it down. Eagles certainly like to show off their speed and transition in these moments. Is there a goal to be had tonight with 1 minute to go?
Cargill with a great move.
Cargill still on it. Ted Cargill got knocked off.
They're not going to call that. No
Not
way.
at this stage.
No way are they going to call that. But that was a nice move. He got in the box, tried to get the opportunity to get a shot off. Could not do it. But great job by Cargill.
I mean, Bob Thompson's going to argue if it's a foul in minute 1, it's a foul in minute 90. Uncalled here. Final 24 seconds, and the Eagles have been the one with the chances the last 2-3 minutes here. Ochoa serves it long. Dos Santos tries to come underneath.
Still in.
Yep, does keep it in for the moment. Down to 10 seconds to go in this 0-0 tie. Is there one more long ball? It's too far for Kozamara. And we are 0-0 on a Friday night in the ACC.
Well, that was interesting. And that was a good battle. You know, back and forth. You know, for the most part, I think it was an even game. You're going to see guys, look at it, you see all the guys lying out on the field there. They